This morning, the book that changed a city forever. 30 years after it was first published, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil has been re-released with a new afterword. Midnight spent 216 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, more than any other nonfiction book in history. Its eccentric characters highlighted the city of Savannah, a place once sleepy, then suddenly thrust into a national spotlight following a series of homicide trials. The spotlight still hasn't faded. Savannah, Georgia, home of the historic Bonaventure Cemetery, elegant squares under Spanish moss. It's a beacon for visitors to the American South. A lot of that thanks to this man from up north.
I lived in this neighborhood. This is pristine. It's more than pristine because some of the houses that needed fixing up hadn't been done when I got here. Now they're all in great shape.
John Berendt began coming here from New York City in the 1980s and became so enamored that he decided to write a book. When you were writing it, did you ever imagine it would have the success that it did?
As I was writing it, my feeling was, this is really working. And I never thought it would be a bestseller.
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil was a smash hit, selling more than 5 million copies and leading to a movie from Clint Eastwood.
Yes, I am nouveau riche, but then it's the riche that counts, now isn't it?
The book is centered around the true story of Jim Williams, an antiques dealer charged with killing his young lover, Danny Hansford, in this very room in Savannah's famed Mercer House.
You've never gotten tired of talking about all this.
Savannah, this house, Jim Williams per se, because he was a charming, brilliant, extremely funny person. Told great stories.
But it wasn't just Williams or his 4 criminal trials that people couldn't get enough of. It was his wild neighbors.
I was not just following the story of the shooting, as much as meeting people around Savannah and creating the sensation of living in this beautiful town with these very quirky people.
Characters like the late Lady Chablis, the outrageous drag queen, who Eastwood cast to play herself in the film. We spoke to Berendt at Club 1, where Chablis frequently performed. If you enjoyed the show, my name is the Lady Chablis, and if you didn't, I have a motto.
2 tears in a bucket, mother.
Leaper.
Yeah.
I have to remember that one.
No, don't remember that one. That's off the record.
Berendt also wrote about Minerva, a voodoo priestess.
You trying to work me, boy?
Luther Driggers, the man who kept threatening to poison the whole city.
If I were you, I wouldn't drink the water today.
And so many more.
Patrick do love his morning walk.
Savannahans love eccentric people.
What is it about Savannah, do you think, that brings out that eccentricity?
One thing about the South I noticed immediately when I got here was they love to talk. And what do you talk about most? Other people. I could get a lot of information about that person from that person, and a lot of information about that person from that person.
People who read this book didn't just fall in love with the characters, they fell in love with you.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. That's the first time I've heard that directly. But it was a story that I thought, it was so engaging. It was not hard to let the reader know I was having a wonderful time.
Berendt didn't actually visit Savannah until after the death of Hansford, so some of his second-hand accounts were presented first person. He says, all in service of the story.
I wrote it the way I wrote it because the narrative flowed just right. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I did that because it enabled the book to be much more enjoyable the way I wrote it. And I'm not sorry a bit.
It is hard to imagine readers wanting it any other way. We watched as the current mayor of Savannah came up to Berendt.
Good, welcome home.
John's first time back since before COVID, and congratulated him for saving the city.
This is a man who turned us from a sleepy town and woke the world up. So 16 million visitors, so thanks to you.
Indeed, midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil led to a flood of tourism.
The Hamilton Turner House was completed in 1883.
Tourism that, as we saw, has hardly tailed off.
You say it's Savannah on steroids
Yes.
today.
The pace is much faster, and there are more people.
Even though it's busier now, Savannah still looks like Savannah. Do you worry that could change?
I think the people running Savannah now know that they better not mess with it too much. And I expect that they will protect what's really great about the look of the town and how it works.
I was blown away by the number of tourists. It was my first time to Savannah ever, and we were talking about this.
Yeah,
we were
me
surprised
too.
It's tourists everywhere.
It's unbelievable. I was there like 2 years ago, and it really, or last year, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's all tourists down there.
I haven't been in 30 years. Shortly
Really?
after actually the book and the movie came out, it was this sleepy, very, it's almost celestial in many ways.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
Really
gorgeous.
beautiful. It was nice to visit with him.